Okay, so today we will be discussing regarding light in architecture. So the part which we have started is, light and texture. For the students, if someone was not there, just confirming that. Last day we have discussed regarding your texture part, how texture works, what is tactile texture, what is optical texture and all. Now we will be discussing regarding light in architecture, how the light and shadow effect works in architecture or in construction, and how can you create a different set of observation, or you can tell how can you create a different look of a particular building just with the use of some certain voids and certain places filled with some other components. So light in architecture, the most powerful element in our perception of architecture is light we perceive. Okay. So what happens is that, anything that we are observing, and that might be anything. If you're watching some movie on your laptop, if you're watching me right now, for everything, there is a light that is getting reflected and you can see after that. So it's not like, that you can randomly see me or something like that. For everything, you have light to get reflected and followed by which you can see the concerned person or the concerned object, whichever you'd like to have a look. In the similar way, any object that you are looking, like, how we have discussed regarding contrast previously. I took the picture of a particular color yellow, and then once we increase the contrast 2-3 times, and the other one we decrease the contrast 2-3 times. What happens is that if the color is yellow also and you are in dark, there is no light reflected, you won't be able to see or understand the color that is yellow. Now, we perceive architectural spaces by the way of light. We perceive texture by the way of light, and we are psychologically affected by the use of light in spaces. For example, if it is a cafeteria, okay, for suppose people who are in Bangalore, if you have visited Starbucks on MG Road, you have seen it's fully made of glass with the ambience, like, people walking by, the nightclubs are there, pubs are there. So it's like an ambience is created by the usage of light in that particular place. Similar thing, if I just tell you, okay, you create a same Starbucks, okay, somewhere like, for example, let us take somewhere in Electronic City, where there is nothing. You have just few buildings and all, and road is passing by. You created the same Starbucks, but outside ambience you are not getting the usage of light, or however things are being arranged or oriented outside, you are not getting that ambience. So you will not get that feel. So this is how in architecture also. For example, if it's a cathedral, the way these huge structures, the heaviness of the structure with the low amount of light entering that particular space, the feel that you will get. If it is a viewpoint, for example, if you are on top of the Burj Khalifa, the viewpoint, the top point from where you can see, both the ambience need to be different. Therefore, light is of decisive importance in experimenting architecture. The same space can be made to give very different spatial impression just by the change of the size and location of its openings. Moving a window from the middle of a wall to a corner would totally transform the characters of the moon. Okay, of the room. My bad. So, moving a window from the middle of a wall to the corner would totally transform the character of the room. Definitely, you have a window at the center of the place of a wall like this. Your room is cubical. You are having the light source emerging from that point throughout the room. Same thing if you have it in one corner, the light source emerging at that particular place, this side will be completely dark, thus changing the view, or you can tell thus changing the presence, your presence at that point, or whatever it is. Am I audible properly, guys? Can one of you please respond? Am I audible properly?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Fine. Now, moving further, we can exemplify 3 main methods of using daylight in architectural spaces to explain the effect of light: the bright open hall, the room with a skylight, and the room with light entering from the side. So we have one open hall. The open hall consists of roofs supported on columns. So we have the example over here, I guess. Okay, let us see if they are having some. Okay. So yeah, so we have the concerned example over here for that open hall. We will come. Okay. So what they are telling in open hall is that the open hall consists of just a roof supported by columns, supported on columns. The light comes into the hall from all sides. But nevertheless, light inside the hall is very different from that of the outdoors. In cloudy days, the hall is much brighter than most enclosed room. So you see, this place is again having a different ambience in comparison with a closed room, whereas again in comparison with the open space. Okay, and that's what you can see. Let us look at the examples, right now. The Mahadev Temple open hall, Mahadeva Temple open hall, left, an open hall in Kaita Vaveshwara Temple in Kubatur. Okay, so these are the two different temples with the pillars, or sorry, with the columns, which you can see over here, and the open hall, open on all sides, light entering from all the sides. If we move below, we can see the market hall in Jingping Company. Okay, similar thing with some arches, a bit differently constructed depending on the space or the place where this architecture has come up from. At various times, architects have tried to achieve the same lightning idea in closed rooms. So now that's what I was talking about. If you try to have that particular, so now you cannot open a coffee shop just like that under this open space. They need to be decorated. If you want to have that ambience of open space, it should be covered up with glasses. One of the examples where similar light conditions were achieved is the house of the architect Philip Johnson in okay, this is Connecticut. Okay, Connecticut. I guess I'm pronouncing it right, not sure. Johnson House is fully transparent rectangular prism with a closed circular cell inside that contains the bathroom and the toilet. Although it is hard to imagine that indoor feeling can be created in such a glass box, you can tell, or a glass house, the house still has its indoor feeling because the ceiling and the ground planes that reflect the light as in an interior space. This is a combined one. You have all open spaces, but still the kind of openness that you get into an empty space where there is nothing, and where the roof and your floor, the light is getting reflected, it still makes some difference at this point. Okay, any doubts still here?
No.
Are having any doubts still here? Others, what about you guys? Doubts?
No, sir.
Okay, so let's proceed further. Try to remember the structures. Okay, I'm telling from the day one, try to remember the structures, whatever is being shown to you, so you can refer to it, if the structure is shown and asks you what's the name of this particular structure. Okay, and once this class is over, I will just share with you guys the PDF. Okay, so you can see just some similar examples of how these things have been used also. Yeah, now let's move further. Okay, so now we come to the second part, that is Skyline. Now, how does this act, and what are the advantages, or not advantages, utilization purposes, or how does it act actually? Sunlight, the exact opposite of such a space, which is open on all sides and closed on the top. It is the space that is closed on all sides and open at the top. So the very first sentence is telling that Skylight is something exactly opposite to what we have discussed before. So what we have discussed before was an open hall. An open hall is something closed on top, open on all sides. Skylight is something open on top, closed on all sides. Just the vice versa. Okay. Now, what we get to see over here, the former offers a variety of lighting effects in different parts of the room, while the latter can be planned so that the light is equally good in all parts of the room. But if the entire ceiling is made of a skylight, the free influx of the daylight creates a shadowless interior in which the thermal effects are poor. Albert Altro Ceramic Bookshop, Finland. So what you are seeing over here is the Albert Altro Finland bookshop. Okay. Just give me a minute. Yes. Just hold for a second. Let me just switch my connection. Am I audible properly? Please respond.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. So as I was telling, but if the entire ceiling is made of a skylight, the free influx of daylight creates a shadowless interior in which the textural effects are poor. Okay. And this Albert Alto Academic Bookshop is in Finland, and you can see how this light from the top is acting up. So this is a bookshop. You cannot have the sides open, you are closing it. But whereas from top, you are having a sufficient amount of light. Now, this is not just about creating some structure which will look aesthetically beautiful. At this place, one more important thing comes is the usage of energy. When you are having the ceilings open in such a place, the amount of light energy that you are using in this particular space becomes drastically less. So you are saving energy by the end of the day, and that is also one of the most important things. You have a refrigerator or any electronic devices 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 4 star, 5 star rating. Similarly, in these any architectural structure also nowadays, which is important now, definitely you cannot expect it for your own house, but any structure like this, they have a star rating. Okay, they have a rating for how much energy efficient they are. Okay, let's move on. One of the most famous usage of dramatic uses of skylight in architecture is the famous Pantheon in Rome. Okay, Temple of Pantheon. You can tell. Sorry, Temple of Parthenon is one of the other examples. So this is what different. This is different. This is Pantheon. Originally made as a pagan temple, which is dedicated to all gods of ancient Rome in 126 AD. Pantheon uses the dramatic effect of light that comes inside from the oculus above. The ray of light that comes from the ceiling moves over the dome and the rotunda, the space under the dome. Along with the movement of the sun throughout the day, if the sky is cloudy or overcast and the sunlight is diffused at the outside, the light inside looks also diffused. Okay, so this is how this whole thing is acting, how sunlight is coming, getting reflected, and what sense or look you are getting from it. These are some of the plans and all given. Just try to have a look at this because there are plan-based questions as well which comes in NATA. Might be there are quite a few plans being shown to you and you are asked to choose the correct plan for Temple of Pantheon. Or might be you are asked you are shown this and asked this is the plan of which particular structure, and there are 4 different options given, out of which you need to select Temple of Pantheon. Don't or Pantheon in Rome. Okay, so don't get confused in between Pantheon and Parthenon. So this is Pantheon and Parthenon is actually these. That is a different one. Now, another example to the use of skylight for symbolic purpose is seen in the Santa Maria della in Victoria Church in Rome. Yes, the hidden skylight was used to for light on the sculptures, and the light was also enhanced by the golden colored elements that represent the rays of sunlight. So how the use of light from sun have been utilized or further enhanced by the use of this golden color materials behind, and how you can see it. Santa Maria della Victoria Church in Rome, the chapel of Cardinal Federico Cornaro. Here are some of the other examples of the uses of skylight in architecture. The next one. And before this, just try to remember this particular structure as well. Once you see this, Santa Maria della Victoria Church in Rome. Okay, the chapel of Cardinal Federico Cornaro. And this is again how the sunlight have been just used to give the light effects inside a particular space or a place. This is Albert Altro City Center Library in Vyborg, Russia. Okay. Further, if we are moving on, next one is Albert Altro Central City Albert Altro Library. This is again in Vyborg, Russia. So this is Central City Library, same thing only, no? Yeah. This is the Albert Altro Central City Library itself. Both are the same, and both are located at the same place. Just they are showing different, views of that particular space. Okay, let's move further. And we have this, the Alberto Rios Parish Church. This is what we can see how the light utilizations have been done. Okay, next one we can see the Louis Kahn Gilles Center for British Art, left on the left hand side, and Louis Kahn Exeter Library on the right. Reflective light on fixtures with the ceiling can cast shadows that will embrace the room. So how the light and the light getting reflected on the other surface creates a shadow have been further used to give you an aesthetic value or a particular sense at that space. So Louis Kahn Exterior Library on the left, and the second one is Louis Kahn, and right is an opening in the roof can ignite the ceiling. So like, you know, an opening in the roof can ignite the ceiling. This means actually that your whole ceiling can be energy efficient at the same time, and also can ignite. How can I tell? Ignite means actually, you know, you're burning something, or like, you know, you are giving spark to something through which you get light and energy from it. So your opening in the ceiling can just is filling in light throughout the room, and that is what has is being like, you know, stated by the statement. Further, if we move on, we have this Louis Kahn Kimball Art Center. Next one is the side lighting. The most common way of getting light inside is from the sides. Probably the most important, just give me a minute. Probably the most important examples of this kind of lighting are found in the Dutch houses. Since land was very precious and limited in Holland, the house has to be made narrow, high-rise and adjacent to each other. For this reason, the only way of getting light for these houses was from their front and back sides. To get enough light through all the interior spaces on the back, the house were made high, like, you know, ceiling with large tall window openings. To regulate the light that comes from these windows, shutters were used on these windows. Therefore, the light amount and the quality of light was very important for Dutch people. And this also shows itself in paintings of Dutch artists such as, like, you know, Rembrandt or Vermeer. So we get to see how these things has been used. Further, again, some few examples of Dutch houses. The next one is a girl at a window on the left, and just remember these people who have made it. And the second one is again a girl at the window on the right. Okay, this is a young woman with a water pitcher, and the second one is the milkmaid. So these are different pictures, and this is made by Jan Vermeer. The previous one was made by Rembrandt. A very important example to the use of light was given by Le Corbusier at Rajab Chapel. Corbusier took light in the chapel by the way of randomly placed slanted windows and by light towers that fell off lights over the altars. This is a great example to the use of light for the spiritual reasons. Okay. Now we have this particular structure. You have the mapping and all. To see how they have done it, this is the Rajab Chapel by Le Corbusier, how they have utilized it and finally formulated the structure out. Similar things, here are some other similar examples. This is the Louis Kahn Capitol building in Bangladesh. Lighting beam through the room can emphasize the ambience of the room. Okay. Okay, any doubts still here? There are other few examples as well. This video will be shared to you. You can just, most important is have a look through the structures, how light and shadow have been utilized, and who built these structures, name of the structure, and if where it's located it's given, just try to know that. Any doubts from anyone?
No, sir.
Okay, great. Okay, fine, guys. So we will proceed with some exercise right now. I will stop the recording, and for people who are watching, like, you know, the recording, just because I'm mentioning it, this video will be on YouTube, I guess, once I share it with the management. So guys, if you're watching it on YouTube, just make sure you go to the description box and there will be a Google form. Fill it out if you want to get connected. That's all, guys. I will end the recording and let's proceed with the exercise.